Welcome to Jaipur, the pink city. The moment you set foot in Jaipur, it transports you back to the Rajput era. It is dotted with architectural wonders, and so we see many tourists coming all the year round. It is the first planned city of India. Jaipur has a rich history of clan of rulers who lived in magnificent forts and palaces. The entire city of Jaipur is painted in the color pink. In 1876, Queen Victoria's son Albert Edward, Prince of Wales, visited India, and since pink was considered the color of hospitality at the time, Maharaja Ram Singh had the whole city painted pink to welcome the royal guests. Lord Albert was said to have described Jaipur as the pink city. Jaipur city dates back to 12th century when Kachwa Rajput started ruling the area. Jaipur has been popular as a land of Rajputs and the royal kings. Every nook and corner of Jaipur has a historical story to tell. This place was ruled by Raja Bhagwan Das in the year 1574 to 1589 AD. Then it was Maharaja Man Singh from 1589 to 1614. Raja Jai Singh from 1621 to 1666. Then it was Maharaja Jai Singh II, popularly known as Maharaja Sawai Jai Singh. He ruled from 1778 to 1743. According to the history of Jaipur, he is considered as the founder of the city and was born to Maharaja Bhishan Singh of Amber. Then it is Maharaja Sawai Ishwari Singh from 1743 to 1750. Then Maharaja Savai Madho Singh from 1751 to 1768. Maharaja Savai Madho Singh II from 1880 to 1922. Maharaja Savai Man Singh II from 1911 to 1970 AD. Maharaja Savai Bhavani Singh from 1931 to 2011 AD. So let us begin our journey from the Pink City. This is the entrance of the Pink City. The Pink City has two crossroads. One is called Choti Chaupad and the other one is called Badi Chaupad. The Pink City has well developed roads connecting all the important places and also a metro line that passes through Choti Chaupad and Badi Chaupad of the Pink City. Coming to Badi Chaupad, when I say Chaupad, it is a crossroad. So here we will find our first point to view the beauty of Jaipur, that is Hawa Mahal. Hawa Mahal was built in 1799 by the Kachwa Rajput ruler Savai Pratap Singh, the grandson of Maharaja Savai Jai Singh. This five-storied palace was built in the form of Krishna's crown because Sarai Pratap Singh was devoted to Krishna, the Hindu god. This mahal has a total of 953 small casements. This allows cool breeze blow through the mahal and keep it cool and airy in summer. Despite the large number of windows, each of them are size of a peephole. The parda system that existed in those days was strictly followed. So, the Rajput royal ladies should not be seen by strangers or appear in any public area. That is why the construction of Hawa Mahal allows the royal ladies to enjoy from everyday street scenes to royal processions on the street without being seen. Then it is the city palace. The city palace was built by Savai Jai Singh and Raja Man Singh II was the last ruler of this dynasty to hold a throne in this palace. The original structure of the city palace was built by Maharaja Jai Singh II, who started with the outer wall. Over the decades since then, buildings and courtyards were added to the premises, and so all the structures inside the palace bear a different timestamp. The architectural style of the city palace is a beautiful combination of Rajput, European and Mughal style. So we can see an assimilation of all the religions like Christianity, Islam as well as Hinduism. It is built out of red and pink stone, and this palace has vast courtyards surrounded by several arched smaller palaces. At several places inside the city palace, especially as you move from one courtyard to the other, you will see relics of the past like cannons and tall sculptures. The important places within the city palace are: one is the Diwane Arm. Diwane Arm is an open hall you see first when you enter city palace. It is used to serve as the hall for holding a public audience by the Maharajas of Jaipur. The hall has an intricately done ceilings with magnificent crystal chandeliers hanging from it. This hall also has two gigantic silver urns, which were known as Ganga Jalis, in glass boxes. These vessels have a capacity of 4,000 liters and hold a place in the Guinness Book of World Records. Then it is Diwane Khas. This is the royal darbar where Maharajas used to hold a private audience with his courtiers. Now, photography is prohibited in this section of the palace. The royal throne, known as Thakkate Raval, along with the chairs used by the courtiers, adorn this hall, the ceiling of which is painted in a salubrious mix of gold and red. The wall of this hall hold life-size paintings of the Maharajas of Jaipur. Our next destination is the Jantar Mantar. The Jantar Mantar is an astronomical observation site built in the early 18th century by Savai Jai Singh II, that is the founder of Jaipur. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and it has a collection of 19 astronomical instruments. Now, these instruments were used for measuring time, predicting eclipses, tracking location of major stars as the Earth orbits around the Sun, and many more things. It features the world's largest sundial and many more instruments known as the yantras. Then within the Pink City, you must visit Radha Govinda Temple. Radha Govinda Temple is again a historic Govindaji temple. The deities of this temple were brought from Vrindavan by Raja Savai Jai Singh II, and this Vaishnav temple is considered to be one of the most sacred and significant temples for devotees in Jaipur. So this is the main entrance of the temple. This is how we walk into the temple, and this is the main area of the temple from where we can have darshan of Lord Govinda and Radhaji. The temple and the surroundings are beautiful to look at. Every day, thousands of devotees come here to get a darshan of Radharani and Govindaji. Now, from the Pink City, we will move on the Amer Road. So, our journey will be somewhat oval in shape, starting from the Pink City, moving up to Amer Fort, and then coming back. So, on the way, we will come across Jal Mahal. The Jal Mahal is a graceful palace and it seems to be floating on the Mansagar lake. This place is a very calm sight. While it appears to have just one story, the water palace actually has 4 other levels submerged beneath a reservoir. Simply appreciate the beauty of the place from far away. Now we come to the Amer Fort or the Amber Fort. This is located in a town named as Amer. The town of Amer and the Amber Fort were originally built by Raja Man Singh and additions were later made by Savai Jai Singh. At the very entrance of the fort, we will see a lake, and that is Maota Lake. This used to be the main source of water for the Amer Palace. Here we will see Mughal architecture that has greatly influenced the architectural style of several buildings of the fort. And this fort is constructed with red stone and marble. So all that we see is everything is attractive, and this palace is really an opulent palace. Now again, this consists of Diwane Aam or Hall of Public Audience and Diwane Khas, that is Hall of Private Audience. Then there is Sheesh Mahal or Jai Mandir. Then the Sukh Nivas, where a cool climate is artificially created by winds that blow over water cascade within the palace. And that is why Amer Fort is also known as Amer Palace. The palace was the residence of the Rajput Maharajas and their families. At the entrance to the palace, near the fort, we will see Ganesh Gate. There is a temple dedicated to Shila Devi, a goddess of Chaitanya cult, which was given to Raja Man Singh when he defeated the Raja of Jessore in 1604. Raja Man Singh had 12 queens. Raja Jai Singh had only one queen. Then the next fort is the Jaighar Fort. Jaighar Fort is close to the Hanuman Sagar Lake. Jaighar Fort is situated on a point of highland. It is also called Chil Katila, that is Hill of Eagles of the Aravali range. It is about 400 meters above the Amer Fort. That is why it provides an excellent view of the Aravali Hills and the Amer Fort down below. The fort was built by Raja Jai Singh II in 1726 to protect the Amer Fort and its palace complex, and was named after him and known as the Victory Fort. From this fort, there is a road that leads to Nahargarh Fort, which is the third important fort in this region. So there are two ways to reach Nahargarh Fort, that is one by road by any four-wheelers, and there is another route where the bikers, that is two-wheelers, can go up. We can also go walking up, and we have the best view of the city from this route. So the city looks beautiful from Nahargarh Fort. This fort also has a well which was used to store water in those times. So when it comes to sightseeing around Jaipur, the view don't get better than what you will find at Nahargarh Fort. It is also known as a Tiger Fort, and this fort is nearly 300 years old fort. Then on this route that we have traveled, there are two Chatri. When I say Chatri, Chatris are monuments built in the memory of a king or queen. So there are two important Chatris to be visited. One is Maharani Ki Chatri. This we will find on the Amer Road before coming to the Jal Mahal. So this is basically a funeral area of the royal ladies or Maharanis of Jaipur. We have learned that Raja Man Singh had 12 queens. So for the 12 queens, the last rites after their death was conducted in this place, and finally monuments were built in their name. So this place is famous for its magnificent cenotaphs, which were built in the memory of various ladies of the royal families. These beautiful and grand cenotaphs are the symbols of the status and importance of women in the royal family. These cenotaphs are artistically carved with beautiful royal chhatris. Each chhatri is very beautifully carved, and it clearly reflects the taste of the woman in whose memory it has been constructed. Some of them are built with marble, whereas some used local stone. Some of the cenotaphs or the chhatris were unfinished here. The reason being that if the queen died before her king, only then her cenotaphs will be completed with the roof structure. But in opposite case, her cenotaphs will remain unfinished. Just as we have Chhatri for the royal ladies, similarly we have Chhatri for the kings. And that area is called Getor Ki Chhatriya. So this place also is a very beautiful place with the monuments built in the memory of king. As we have learned, Raja Man Singh had 9 queens. From them he had 12 children, and all of them died in those times. So there is a Chhatri built in their name too in this area. That is Getor Ki Chhatri. The other places to visit in Jaipur are Birla Temple. Birla Temple is made up of white marble, and it is a beautiful sight to see. But again, photography inside the temple is not allowed. Then it is Galta Ji Ka Mandir. This is the source of water, that is a natural spring in a mountain pass in Aravali Hills. So what they have done is they have honored it by building the Hindu temple Galta Ji. This temple is nestled between cliffs. The temple features a few sacred water tanks, some with modest fountains as well. The official name of this place is Galtaji, but it is better known as the Monkey Temple. Thank you.